Okay, so this is the Universal Hot Crazy Matrix. It's everything a young man needs to know about women. I've developed this on my own over 46 years of living on the earth. So this is how it works. You have your crazy axis and your hot axis. Hot is, as usual, measured from 0 to 10. We're all familiar with that. Crazy is measured from 4 to 10 because, of course, there's no such thing as a woman who's not at least a 4 crazy. So you got 4 to 10. This is your hot crazy line right here. Very important that you keep in mind where the hot crazy line is. As a rule, this is your no-go zone. We do not hang around and date and marry women who are not, at least in our mind, a 5. So this is your no-go zone. You don't go here. We just rule this out. Life is better this way. That's the way it is. All right. Above a 5 and to about an 8 and below the crazy line, this is your fun zone. You can hang out here and meet these girls and spend time with them. That's your fun zone, but keep in mind when you're in the fun zone, you want to move out of the fun zone to a more permanent location. Okay? So that's the fun zone above a 5, hot, below an 8, hot, and below the crazy line. This means these are most of the time not crazy. Okay? Above the danger zone, above the crazy line, we have the danger zone. This is your redheads, your strippers, anyone named Tiffany. This is hairdressers. This is where your car gets keyed. You get a bunny in the pot. Your tires get slashed, and you wind up in jail. Now that we have some of the chart filled in, we got a couple more pieces to put in. But at this point, understand something. This is not a static environment. This is a situation where you have got to use this matrix over time to develop some reliable data. It's like a dope chart, okay? Because at any moment in time, any woman that you have previously located on this chart can vanish from that location and appear anywhere else on the chart. So what you have to do is over time collect some data. And once you have a cluster of data points, you can begin to consider that reliable. Now, moving on, you have this zone here. This is below the crazy line, above an 8 hot, but still, about a 7 crazy. This is your date zone. You can stay in the date zone indefinitely. These are women that you introduce to your friends and your family. They're good looking and they're reasonably not crazy most of the time. Okay, so you can stay here indefinitely. Now, above an 8 hot and between about a 7 and a 5 crazy, this is your wife zone. Okay, when you meet this girl, you should consider a long-term relationship. This zone is not scaled to size. This is a representation and not an actual. This is not a pie chart showing you how many of these people are out there. This is simply a representation of what you're after. You want to be 5 to 7 crazy, above an 8 hot. That's your wife zone. Okay. Now, below a 5 crazy and above an 8 hot, this is your unicorn zone. These things don't exist. If you find a unicorn, please capture it safely, keep it alive. We'd like to study it and maybe look at how to replicate that. Okay? So I was explaining this to a guy one time and he said, wait a minute. I met this girl and she's like smoking hot. She's like at least a 9 and she's chill. She's totally cool. She's like not even a 3 crazy. I said, you're telling me you've met a girl, she's a 9 hot, and she's like a 2 or a 3 crazy. He said, yeah, man, I like her a lot. I said, you should be careful. That's a dude. You're talking to a tranny. So you got to be careful because Down here, below a 4 crazy and above an 8 hot, you're probably talking to a dude. That is the universal hot crazy matrix.
This is your hot emotional unavailability matrix. Everything a woman needs to know about men. This takes some people 46 years to develop. We banged this out in 5 minutes. This is how it is. It just is. This is your emotional unavailability axis. This is your hot axis. Hot, as usual, is measured from 0 to 10. We all know that. Emotional unavailability is measured from 4 to 10 because we know there's no such thing as a man who's not at least a stunted 4 in emotional growth. 4 and below, of course, is reserved for our gay BFFs. Love you guys. This is your emotional unavailability hot line. It is very important you keep in mind where this line is at all times. As a rule, this is your no-go zone, okay? We do not date or hang out or marry men who are, at least in our minds, a 5. There is a supplemental graph for girls who will date, marry a guy who's a 5 and under for his money. So, this is your no-go zone. We just rule this out. Life is better that way. That is just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Above a 5 until about an 8, that is your fun zone, okay? We can hang around these guys, meet these guys, spend protected time with these guys. This is your I'm working on an app guy, commercial actors, and any minor league athletes. It's your fun zone. Above the emotional unavailability line, this is your danger zone. Okay, this is guys with 2 first names, any guy named Brad or Chad, any ads, online porn addicts, any guy that reads Elite Daily. This guy will call your ex, drunk dial you 20 times, and carve your name into his chest a la Mark Wahlberg forever. And they'll wind up pregnant, also, forever. Danger zone. Below the emotional unavailability line and above an 8 hot and still about a 7 in emotional complexity, this is your date zone. Ladies, we can hang out with these guys, introduce them to our friends, not our dads, but distant cousins. These guys, they're pretty good looking and reasonably evolved. Date zone. Above an 8 hot and in between about a 7 and a 5, that is your husband zone, okay? Now, when you find this guy, you lock him down, okay? This is not done to size. This is not a pie chart. This is a representation. There's only actually about 5 guys that qualify. Ryan Gosling, Abigail Mendez. This is your husband zone, in between a 7 and a 5, okay? Now, above an 8 hot and below a 5, this is your Prince Charming zone. This man does not exist. If you find him, please capture him. Every straight woman on the planet is looking for him. We'd like to study him and maybe look at how to replicate him. It's your Prince Charming zone. Now, I was explaining this to my girlfriend, and she said, wait a minute. I met this guy who is smoking hot, at least a 9. He went down on me for an hour. We stayed up all night talking. He cried, at least a 3 in emotional unavailability. And I said, girl, have you seen Boys Don't Cry? That was a woman. Lesbian zone. Okay? Now, ladies, I want you to use this information and go forth and conquer. Lots of love, Kelsey. At least a 7 crazy.
Let me ask you, like, for the women watching, is there a male version of that? I mean, would it also be?
Oh yeah, it's a little simpler.
If a dude is super hot, okay.
Yeah, it's a little simpler, but we can do it real quick. It doesn't take very long at all. For women, this is your matrix. You got your cute axis, and you got your money axis. Okay, and if you have, there's only 3 sections. Women have a very large no-go zone. This is for dudes who are neither hot nor have a lot of money. You'll notice over here, this is the husband section. Once you cross a line and have sufficient amounts of money, it is no longer relevant how hot you are. And then women have a fun zone here where a dude is broke but hot. That is the cute versus rich matrix for women's use.